Hey there, James here. Hope you're having a good day and welcome to another one of my guitar lessons. Now, in today's lesson, I'm going to help you get better at guitar by showing you how to really nail any new scale. We use scales all the time for composing, for soloing, for improvising. Hold on for that because that's coming up in a second. I'm going to show you exactly how to nail any new scale so that you never forget it and you can really use it well. Now, this tip and a load of others is covered in my recently published book, The Guitar Practice Workbook. It's pretty much the ultimate practice guide for today's guitar player. It gives you tips on setting up a practice routine, how to learn scales and chords more easily, how to get better at learning licks, solos, speeding up licks, learning songs. There's a ton of stuff in there, as well as a lot of blank space for you to write out your own song ideas, licks, chord shapes, and any other cool ideas which you discover when you practice. So do check that out. You'll find a link to the Guitar Practice Workbook in the description below this video. So on with today's lesson, how to nail any scale. And in a moment, I'm going to show you a method which will help you do exactly that. But first of all, there are three things to think about when you want to get into scales. The first one is you want to prioritize scales which you are going to use all the time you're playing. Don't worry about the more exotic advanced scales which sort of seem cooler. You've got to learn the basic ones first. I'm talking things like minor pentatonic, major pentatonic, blues scale. For most of us, these are ones we're going to use a lot of the time. Perhaps the natural minor scale or the major scale. Get those down first. They'll help you understand how to use the other ones anyway. Plus, they're the ones you're going to use and you're playing most of the time. That's going to make a bigger difference in your playing than learning some which you're just not really going to use. That's the first thing. Second thing, I think it's a good idea to focus on 2 or 3 scale shapes at a time, and no more than that because it makes it easier to learn them. You probably learn them and remember them more easy and quicker than if you're learning like 7 or 8 positions of a scale at one time. So just do a handful of scales at any one time. 2 or 3 shapes is perfect. The third thing is for any new scale shape you learn, you must learn which note in the scale pattern is the root note. This is key because this is how we're going to move it around into different places on the neck and use it. So any scale shape, make sure you know 100% which note in that pattern is the root note. Really easy to overlook these 3 things and they can really hold you up. So now that that's out of the way, let's look at how I think the best way to learn a new scale is. So let's imagine I was going to learn this A blues scale pattern. Now, first of all, you will probably all know this scale shape already, but it's the method here which is really cool. It's not about learning this scale pattern. So the scale pattern that I'm going to use for this lesson is the A blues scale played at the 5th fret. Again, you probably know that already, and that's cool, but it's just an example for this particular lesson. Now, the problem is I started on the same note there, and I played up to the top, and I came down. And that's great when we're learning the pattern, and that's the first stage, is to be able to do that for any scale that you're learning. But many guitar players never go beyond that. And the problem is when they come to actually use that scale to play a solo or to jam with someone, and they're putting all the notes in different order, they can't do it because they're only used to putting all the notes in the same sequence. And this can take much longer then to get good at using that scale. So what I like to get my students to do is as soon as they know the basic pattern, they start breaking up the order of the notes. And try this and you'll be amazed how much faster you get a certain scale together. So I call this the random note exercise, and let's have a look at how we do that. The random note exercise is really easy to do. Instead of putting the notes in the same order, we're going to go through the scale pattern, only playing notes which are in the scale, but we're going to put them in a completely random order. Now we want to do this really slowly. I've got my metronome, it's set here to 60 beats per minute. If you need to slow it down a bit, then that's fine. I'm at 60 beats per minute, and what I'm basically going to do is put one note from the scale pattern on each click of the metronome. So there's the metronome. Let me show you what I mean. 2, 3, 4. You get the idea now. It doesn't sound very musical, and they're not really the kind of things we would probably play in a solo, but if you think about it, we're learning to find the notes going from any other note. So we get to the point where we could go from any note in the scale to any other note in the scale. This gives us incredible flexibility when we want to use the scale creatively. When we can do this, we start to see new possibilities for playing licks. Sometimes people find that they get lost when they break up the order of the notes because they're so used to only putting the notes in the same order. So by using the random note exercise like this, you can become really flexible at using that scale, and that's going to free you up to think less about the shape and more about what you're playing. It's a really powerful exercise. So once again, all you've got to do is learn the scale shape from top to bottom so you can play up it and down it comfortably and you know the basic pattern. Then put your metronome on at 60 beats per minute or thereabouts and play one note per click on each click of the metronome, playing completely random notes. Now, as you get better at this, you can start to put bigger jumps in and all sorts of crazy leaps between the notes to really test yourself and really stretch yourself. And you'll find after a couple of sessions doing that, you'll find that you know that scale on a much, much deeper level than you would do if you were just going up and down it. So I've used that basic blues scale shape here, which we probably all know already. This will work for any scale shape, any scale pattern ever. You can use this to really nail that scale. So good luck with this because it really does help. So I hope you've got good value out of this lesson. Thanks a lot for watching. Remember, the random note exercise and a ton of other practice hacks and practice tips are covered in my guitar practice workbook, and you'll find a link to that underneath this video in the description there. It's available on Amazon in paperback. A ton of space as well for writing out your own lick ideas and sort of solo ideas to help you build your guitar stuff. So do check that out. It's a really valuable resource for any guitar player. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope you got something useful out of this lesson. Good luck with the random note exercise. It's really going to help you with those scales. So put it to use. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you again in my next lesson. So take care. Bye for now.